It's been nearly 30 years since Jumanji stormed into our imaginations with its wild jungle chaos and unforgettable characters. But time has not been kind to the cast. Some stars have aged in ways no fan could have predicted. Others faced shocking transformations, sudden struggles, and heartbreaking declines far from Hollywood's spotlight. Stay with us, because the then and now of the Jumanji cast in 2025 will leave you stunned. He wasn't on screen long, but when the exterminator burst into Jumanji, frantic, overwhelmed, and armed with nothing but bug spray against creatures no human should ever face, he gave the movie one of its strangest, funniest, and most unforgettable moments. In a world where stampedes thundered through living rooms and giant vines swallowed cars whole, his sheer confusion became the perfect reminder that Jumanji didn't just disrupt lives, it devoured sanity. That chaotic cameo was brought to life by James Handy, born January 5, 1944. He was 51 when he stepped into the role, already a seasoned character actor whose face audiences recognized long before they remembered his name. Handy built an impressive career across film and television, appearing in projects like K-9, The Rocketeer, Murder, She Wrote, and NYPD Blue, always bringing grounded humor and authenticity to even the briefest scenes. In 2025, at 81 years old, James Handy continues to act and remains one of those rare performers whose smaller roles linger in memory. Proof that sometimes it only takes a single, chaotic moment in a movie like Jumanji to make an impact that lasts for decades. Young Alan Parrish didn't just open the board game. He opened the door to one of the most haunting and beloved moments in 90s cinema. Before the jungle swallowed him whole, Alan was a frightened boy aching to be understood, carrying wounds from bullies, a distant father, and a world that felt too heavy for a child. In just a few scenes, his trembling voice and terrified eyes captured the fear every kid knows. What if nobody comes to save me? That unforgettable spark came from Adam Hanberg, born February 22, 1982. Only 13 when he stepped into the role, he delivered a performance so emotional, so grounded, that audiences still feel a shadow in their chest when Alan disappears into the game. Hanberg followed Jumanji with roles in The Ice Storm, Halloween H20, and later built a career behind the camera as a writer and creative consultant. As of 2025, at 43 years old, Adam Hanberg remains a thoughtful presence in the entertainment world, and for millions who grew up in the 90s, he is forever the boy who knocked on a board game and vanished into legend. Mrs. Thomas appears only for a heartbeat in Jumanji, but in that small moment, she becomes part of one of the film's darkest ripples. The days when the town whispered about the Parrish boy who vanished without a trace. She is one of those adults caught between disbelief and fear, standing at the edges of a mystery too strange to explain, yet too painful to ignore. Her presence, brief as it is, helps ground the story's magic in something real. The quiet devastation of a community watching a family fall apart. Behind that subtle but memorable moment is Jillian Barber, born February 22, 1958. She was 37 when she stepped into the role, already building a career shaped by versatility and emotional precision. Barber went on to appear in The X-Files, Stargate SG-1, Arrow, and numerous stage productions, becoming a trusted performer whose authenticity enriches every project she touches. Now, at 67 years old, Jillian Barber continues to act and teach, guiding new generations of storytellers. And though Mrs. Thomas had only seconds on screen, she remains part of the eerie, unforgettable fabric that made Jumanji a childhood legend. Young Sarah Whittle didn't just witness the impossible. She carried the guilt of it for decades. One moment she was a curious girl drawn into a strange old board game, and the next, she was staring into a swirling darkness that swallowed Alan Parrish right in front of her. The terror in her eyes, the way she ran trembling into the night, became one of Jumanji's most haunting memories. The kind of childhood fear that never quite leaves you, even when the world grows up around you. That emotional weight was brought to life by Laura Bell Bundy, born April 10, 1981. At only 14, she delivered a performance filled with raw panic and fragile innocence, setting the stage for the adult Sarah's lifelong trauma. Bundy would go on to become a Broadway powerhouse with Legally Blonde, the musical, earn country music success, and appear in series like Anger Management and How I Met Your Mother. Today, at 44 years old, Laura Bell Bundy continues to perform, record music, and advocate for social causes. But for millions who grew up with Jumanji, She will always be the girl whose scream echoed through the halls of the parish house, and through the childhoods of an entire generation. Billy Jessup may only appear briefly in Jumanji, but he leaves a mark the moment he steps on screen. The neighborhood bully whose fists and taunts push young Alan Parrish one step closer to the board game that will change his life forever. Billy wasn't just a troublemaker. He was the kind of kid every town remembers, the one whose anger came from somewhere no one ever asked about, shaping the fragile fear that lingered in Alan long after he vanished. That short but pivotal role was played by Gary Joseph Thorup, born August 4, 1980. He was just 14 when he brought Billy's rough edges to life, giving the story the spark of conflict it needed to send Alan running straight into destiny. Thorup continued acting into the late 90s before stepping away from Hollywood, choosing a quieter life outside the spotlight, a path many child actors take when the industry no longer feels like home. Today, at 44 years old, Gary Joseph Thorup lives privately, far from the chaos of cameras. And yet his brief moment in Jumanji remains unforgettable. Jim Shepard appears only in the quiet edges of Jumanji, but his presence carries a heartbreaking weight, the father trying to hold his family together as an impossible storm tears through their home. While Judy and Peter face jungle chaos no adult could ever understand, Jim becomes the silent symbol of every parent who feels the world slipping beyond their control. His worried eyes, his attempts to stay steady, his helplessness in the face of something he cannot fight. All of it deepens the emotional pulse of the film far more than viewers realize. That grounded humanity was brought to life by Malcolm Stewart, born May 31, 1948. At 47, he stepped into the role with the calm authority of a veteran actor, a man who had already built a steady career across film and television. Stewart has appeared in The X-Files, Supernatural, Smallville, and dozens of TV movies, becoming one of those familiar faces audiences remember even if they can't place the name. Currently, at 77 years old, Malcolm Stewart continues to work in the industry, known for his quiet strength and emotional authenticity. Alan Parrish didn't just return from the jungle. He returned from a lifetime of fear, loneliness, and a boyhood stolen by a game no one believed in. When he steps out of the shadows, beard wild, eyes trembling with memories he can barely speak aloud, Jumanji shifts from adventure to something far deeper. The story of a man who survived the unthinkable and still found the courage to hope again. Every moment Robin Williams gave him, the sorrow, the humor, the broken laughter, felt like a heart trying to relearn how to beat. Behind that unforgettable soul was Robin Williams, born July 21, 1951. At 44, he brought to Alan a rare, fragile magic shaped by his own brilliance and his own battles. Williams wasn't just acting trauma. He understood the dark corners of the human heart, and he turned them into something healing, something children and adults still feel decades later. Sadly, he passed away on August 11, 2014, at 63, due to suicide, leaving behind a legacy that continues to comfort the lonely, lift the hurting, and remind us that joy and sorrow often live side by side. Sarah Whittle didn't just run from the parish house that night. She ran from a memory so terrifying it followed her into adulthood. As a girl, she witnessed Alan vanish into the board game's impossible spiral, and for years afterward, she carried the guilt of that moment like a weight no one else could see. So when she returns to the house decades later and comes face to face with the man she thought had died as a child, the fear, shock, and heartbreak in her trembling voice reveal a truth deeper than the jungle magic. Some wounds never stop echoing. That emotional depth was brought to life by Bonnie Hunt, born September 22, 1961. At 34, she gave adult Sarah a fragile wit and aching humanity, a woman trying to rebuild herself after a trauma no one believed. Hunt's grounded performance became the emotional bridge of Jumanji, turning fantasy chaos into something personal, relatable, and deeply human. Beyond the film, Bonnie Hunt built a remarkable career as an actress, writer, director, and voice performer in Pixar classics like A Bug's Life, Cars, and Toy Story 3. Her warm humor and natural honesty have made her one of Hollywood's most beloved and quietly powerful talents. As of now, at 63 years old, Bonnie Hunt continues creating, performing, and inspiring. Van Pelt didn't just chase Alan Parrish. He embodied every nightmare the game whispered into the dark. Tall, cold, and relentless, he stalked through the streets of Brantford with the calm cruelty of someone who never missed a shot. He wasn't loud. He didn't need to be. His presence froze the air, turning childhood fear into something cinematic, something unforgettable. For millions of kids in 1995, Van Pelt wasn't just a villain. He was the villain, the one whose boots echoed long after the credits rolled. Bringing that chilling elegance to life was Jonathan Hyde, born May 21, 1948, in Brisbane, Australia. At 47, Hyde fused menace with sophistication, playing Van Pelt with a controlled intensity that made him both terrifying and strangely captivating. His performance was so iconic that the character became a cultural imprint, a symbol of the darkness inside Jumanji's strange magic. Beyond Jumanji, Jonathan Hyde built an extraordinary career with roles in Titanic, Anaconda, The Mummy, and award-winning stage work with the Royal Shakespeare Company. His versatility, spanning aristocrats to monsters, remains one of his greatest strengths. Nowadays, at 77 years old, Jonathan Hyde continues to act on screen and stage, admired for the precision and presence he brings to every role. Nora Shepherd didn't just step into Judy and Peter's lives. She stepped into their grief, trying to become the steady light in a home dimmed by loss. With her elegant calm and quiet heartbreak, she became the emotional backbone of Jumanji, the adult who tried to hold everything together while two children carried a secret adventure far too heavy for their age. There is a moment, small but unforgettable, where her eyes soften with a mix of fear and fierce love, revealing a woman who would give anything to protect the only family she has left. That warmth and dignity came from Bebe Neuwirth, born December 31, 1958. At 36, she brought to Nora the poise of a dancer, the emotional intelligence of a seasoned actress, and the kind of subtle strength that doesn't shout but stays. Already a two-time Tony Award winner for Chicago and Sweet Charity, Neuwirth carried her trademark grace into film and television, later appearing in Cheers, Frasier, Madam Secretary, and numerous stage triumphs. At present, at 66 years old, Bebe Neuwirth remains a celebrated actress, vocalist, and Broadway icon, still performing with the same soulful clarity she brought to Nora. Martha Shepherd appears only briefly in Jumanji, yet her presence carries a quiet emotional echo, the kind of adult who moves through the story's edges, unaware that the children she loves are fighting a secret war against a game no one believes is real. In her gentle voice and worried glances, she becomes part of the film's softer tragedy. The adults trying their best, never realizing the danger their family is facing until it's too late. Martha's moments may be small, but they deepen the sense that Judy and Peter aren't just battling chaos. They're fighting to keep the last threads of their family from unraveling. She was portrayed by Annabelle Kershaw, an actress known for her subtle, grounded performances across film and television. Though her role in Jumanji was short, Kershaw continued working steadily in the industry, appearing in projects like Emma, Heartland, Supernatural, and multiple Canadian productions that highlighted her versatility and calm screen presence. This day, Annabelle Kershaw remains active in acting, balancing television work with stage projects. He appears for only a moment, but the gun salesman in Jumanji delivers one of the movie's most darkly funny shocks. A man so unfazed by chaos that he casually arms a stranger dressed like a Victorian-era hunter. While Brantford descends into jungle madness, he stands in the eye of the storm, completely unaware that he's helping unleash one of the most dangerous forces wandering the streets. That brief exchange, equal parts absurd and unsettling, became one of the film's most memorable surprises. Behind that moment is Daryl Henriquez, born January 28, 1942, a performer whose career spans theater, political satire, stand-up comedy, and film. At 53, when he joined Jumanji, Henriquez brought a dry, deadpan humor that made the scene land perfectly, capturing the surreal tone that defines the movie. His work has stretched from The Right Stuff to Star Trek IV to numerous stage productions rooted in sharp wit and social commentary. These days, at 83 years old, Daryl Henriquez continues writing, performing, and using comedy as a lens to examine the world. Paramedic in Jumanji appears for only a few seconds, but in a film where chaos rules every corner, his presence becomes unexpectedly grounding. As Brantford turns into a battleground of stampedes, vines, and creatures no human has ever seen, he represents the last fragile thread of normalcy, a man trained to handle emergencies suddenly facing something far beyond medicine. In his calm urgency and brief flashes of concern, he reminds us that while the jungle erupts outside, real people are still trying to save real lives. That subtle moment was brought to life by Peter Bryant, born July 30th, 1959. At 36 years old when he joined Jumanji, Bryant was building a steady acting career in Canadian film and television. Over the years, he went on to appear in projects such as The X-Files, Stargate SG-1, The Twilight Zone, Dead Like Me, and numerous TV movies, earning a reputation for his sharp professionalism and grounded screen presence. Now, at 66 years old, Peter Bryant continues working in the industry, both as an actor and director, shaping a career defined not by fame but by consistency and craft. Carol Parrish appears only in the earliest moments of Jumanji, yet her presence casts one of the film's deepest emotional shadows. She is the mother who watches her son slip farther from her with every frightened look, every whispered fear, until the unthinkable happens. Alan vanishes, and her world collapses into a silence no parent should ever know. Carol's brief scenes carry a quiet heartbreak, showing the kind of love that lingers long after answers disappear. In a film filled with stampedes and jungle chaos, her grief is the most human tragedy of all. Giving that sorrow its delicate weight was Patricia Clarkson, born December 29, 1959. At 35, she brought nuance and fragility to Carol, a performance so subtle viewers often feel the pain even when they barely remember the lines. Clarkson would go on to build an extraordinary career, earning Emmy Awards for 6 Feet Under and widespread acclaim for The Green Mile, Shutter Island, Sharp Objects, and countless indie films that showcased a remarkable emotional range. Today, at 65 years old, Patricia Clarkson remains one of Hollywood's most respected actresses. Graceful, powerful, and effortlessly human. Peter Shepard wasn't just a kid caught inside a living nightmare. He was the heartbeat of bravery that held Jumanji together. Behind his small frame was a boy desperate to stay strong for his sister, a child grieving his parents yet trying to pretend he wasn't breaking inside. When he rolled the dice with trembling hands and watched the jungle swallow their world piece by piece, Peter became the symbol of a truth every child eventually learns. Sometimes you have to face your fear before anyone comes to save you. That fragile courage came to life through Bradley Pierce, born October 23, 1982. Only 12 when he stepped into the role, Pierce delivered a performance filled with raw honesty, from the guilt in his cracking voice to the quiet determination in his eyes. It wasn't acting. It felt like watching a boy grow up in real time. After Jumanji, Pierce continued acting in film, television, and voice work, including memorable roles in Beauty and the Beast and The Borrowers. As an adult, he expanded into producing, charity work, and voice acting, building a career shaped by heart and authenticity rather than fame. Currently, at 43 years old, Bradley Pierce remains a warm, steady presence in the industry. A storyteller, a creator, and for millions who grew up in the 90s. Carl Bentley was more than the town's kind-hearted shoemaker and later its most determined cop. He was the man who carried the weight of a mystery no one ever believed. One moment, he was joking with young Alan Parrish. The next, he watched the boy vanish in front of him, leaving Carl to live with the guilt, the blame, and decades of whispered accusations. Yet through all the humiliation and confusion, Carl never lost his warmth. He remained the man who tried, who cared, who kept searching for the truth long after the world moved on. That gentle strength was brought to life by David Alan Grier, born June 30th, 1956. At 39, Grier delivered one of the film's most quietly emotional performances, blending warmth, comedy, frustration, and heartache into a character viewers still remember with affection. Already a standout from In Living Color, Grier went on to build a celebrated career in film, television, and theater, earning Tony nominations and becoming one of America's most versatile comedic and dramatic performers. Presently, at 69 years old, David Alan Grier continues to act, write, and shape the world of comedy with the same sincerity and charm he brought to Carl decades ago. Carl Bentley was more than the town's kind-hearted shoemaker and later its most determined cop. He was the man who carried the weight of a mystery no one ever believed. One moment, he was joking with young Alan Parrish. The next, he watched the boy vanish in front of him, leaving Carl to live with the guilt, the blame, and decades of whispered accusations. Yet through all the humiliation and confusion, Carl never lost his warmth. He remained the man who tried, who cared, who kept searching for the truth long after the world moved on. That gentle strength was brought to life by David Alan Grier, born June 30th, 1956. At 39, Greer delivered one of the film's most quietly emotional performances, blending warmth, comedy, frustration, and heartache into a character viewers still remember with affection. Already a standout from In Living Color, Greer went on to build a celebrated career in film, television, and theater, earning Tony nominations and becoming one of America's most versatile comedic and dramatic performers. Presently, at 69 years old, David Alan Grier continues to act, write, and shape the world of comedy with the same sincerity and charm he brought to Carl decades ago. Thanks for joining us on this eye-opening journey through the lives of the Jumanji cast. Some stories surprised us, others broke our hearts, but every chapter reminds us how quickly time rewrites the legends we grew up with. If this video moved you, please like, subscribe, and share your favorite Jumanji memory below. More powerful Hollywood stories are on the way.